Hey guys, welcome to the Multidimensional Shift podcast. This is your girl Nee. We are here to connect through love, empathy, and high vibrations. Let's tap in. So this is going to be my first episode, and I'm super excited because it's been a long time coming. Those that know. And sometimes God slows you down and pulls you back like a sling and eventually catapults you. That pullback is to self-reflect and figure out, why am I sitting here and why am I on hold? And once you figure that out, and when the time is right, divine timing, he'll pull you forward. So I'm here now, and I'm super excited about it. So this episode is basically going to talk about what the Multidimensional Shift podcast is about, how I created it, the type of guests I expect to have on. I came up with the name, the Multidimensional Shift podcast, due to the fact that I feel like sometimes society tends to put you in a box. And I feel like humans they're multifaceted beings. And I feel like a box is too simplistic. A diamond has multiple facets, it has multiple layers to it, and I feel like that represents and symbolizes a human more than a box. I was able to connect this to everyone else because I first saw myself. Just having foundational knowledge that we're all interconnected, it allowed me to know that if I'm going through it, somebody else could be going through it. And the funny thing is about art is that you could look at it one way and then you could look at it another way. So the different facets that I was able to come up with are relationships, being a spiritual entity, elevating purpose/profession, history, and culture. And the other aspect of looking at this was understanding that we all could be in the same location, the same place, and have different realities. We could be in the same room, but living different realities. I came up with the name, the Multidimensional Shift, also due to the fact that if you have a more positive outlook on life, you'll be able to jump to another dimension, another reality, essentially. So that's another way to look at it. So let's get back to the facets. The facets that I came up with, the first one was relationships. And I believe that relationships, it takes a lot of energy to put into relationships, right? The relationship you have with God, the relationship you have with self, your family, your friends, your lover, your community, it takes up a lot. And I feel as though if we have more empathy, compassion, and give people grace, we'll be able to just have a better outlook on life. And I'm gonna give a quick example. My friend's dinner, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, one of my friends that were there was basically discussing that she had her birthday trip coming up and she planned it with another set of friends, and she felt some type of way that her friend canceled maybe 3 weeks before the actual vacation date. And she was going on and on about, is she a fake friend? Just feeling some type of way that she ditched her on her birthday occasion. And I'm not judging how my friend felt, because I felt like that maybe way back in time, and people feel like that now. But if you change the way you view things, right? I was basically explaining to her, you don't know what people are going through. And I feel as though relationships and bonds are vital in this world. You don't lose it off of something as minuscule as that. If you have a positive outlook on life, the way you think and your thought processes affect how you feel, and then how you feel affects your behavior. So the fact that she thinks that her friend is fake, she feels that her friend is fake, she's gonna move that her friend's fake, and it couldn't even been that, you know what I mean? How she acts, like I understand you can't make it, what's going on? Try not to take things too personal. Sometimes it never has to do with you, it's the other person 9 times out of 10. And that's just something to think about. Oh, and then also I wanted to say that, to add on to that, I was just talking to other people about this, that there's things called transactional love versus virtuous love. And transactional love is when you want to give somebody something just to get something in return, and that's the most superficial form of love. So again, with relationship dynamics, it requires an extreme amount of energy, and it's just important to understand empathy and have love and grace and give people grace. Through the journey of life, things come and go, people come and go, and God is always within you. So once God is always within you, you will always have that energy source. But if you depend on your energy source with people or things, once it goes away, you'll be continuously depleted. So God is your strongest energy source. Then once that relationship is fulfilled, you'll be able to connect to yourself. You'll figure out who I am. I am those affirmations. I am beautiful. I am successful. I am powerful. You'll be able to figure out who you truly are once you connect to God. And then again, of course, you have the relationship with your families, your community, your lover, your coworkers, and those things of that nature. The other facet that I was able to come up with, or the other side, that I was able to come up with is spirituality. Understanding that we're spirits inside a physical vessel. A lot of people get caught up on just the physical vessel, but we're also spirits within it. I was able to come up with different subtopics, just like relationships. So in relationships, again, I said God, family, friends, yourself. In this aspect with spirituality, I was able to come up with, again, God, because obviously we're connected to God. That's a part of your spirit. Then you have the universe. A lot of people like to correlate those names, God and the universe. Religion, this might be a little sticky one. I was born to be a Christian. My family is Christian, but I also understand that religion is a set of rules and is organized to essentially connect you to your spirit. Some people use it more than others and rely on it heavily more than others. And the imperfections of being a human cause it to be corrupt. I think people focus on the messenger more than the message. Also, under spirituality, I put a subtopic as duality, that there's good and bad, or positive and negative, but they both need to coexist. So there's good and bad within me, just like how there's good and bad in somebody else, and good and bad in the universe, but they need each other to coexist. Also, your spirit is on a continuous journey to heal. So that's under that subcategory as well. And just manifestation, but manifestation requires your spirit to heal for you to jump to the next reality that you want to be in, or the next dimension you need to be in. But you have to tap into your spirit and healing before you could get there and change your mindset. So that brings me to the next facet, which is elevation. Also, through this life, if you're continuously stagnant, you're going to feel depressed. Just sitting down doing nothing. Idleness is like, you're definitely going to be depressed. So the purpose of life is to continuously elevate. And you need God to elevate righteously. And through God, you'll obtain enlightenment and wisdom. And that's another subcategory under elevation. Another facet that I was able to come up with is purpose/profession. Originally, I put up profession, but I decided to put it together. We do live in a capitalist society, and sometimes people go into a profession that doesn't really correlate with their soul. So your profession doesn't necessarily have to correlate with your purpose. So that's why I changed it and put it together. But again, once you tap into that source of God, it'll eventually show you your purpose, your mission, and your vision, and you just follow and go align with that. Another facet is history, just like understanding or discovering God. History of your people, and I say your people loosely because we're all humans on a fundamental level. Family, your history of your family, and even history of yourself. What are my patterns? How can I get better? And just self-reflecting on your history. The last facet I was able to come up with is culture. And again, God is involved with that as well. How does your culture connect to God? Culture could be within gender as well. Being a woman or being a man, there's a culture within that as well. And that's part of what the podcast is about, because I do feel like there's a disconnect between men and women right now. And I feel like if we understand each other, we'll be able to unify better and essentially help the society. Another subtopic under culture is fashion. How do we dress? Certain people dress a certain way, even hierarchies within economic status or cultures in any aspect. You dress a certain way, you'll be able to tell where that person comes from. Or music is also art and it's a form of culture. Food, how we eat, is also culture. And just having responsibility as individuals within the culture could be a cultural thing as well. Lucky for us, God is within all those facets and also within us. So we will always have that source. You just have to tap into it. Again, I'm going to talk about my mission and the purpose of the podcast. So first and foremost, is to unify and bring people together through love and empathy. I feel as though the only way to unify is through love and empathy. Once you understand somebody. And I also noticed this one thing. Because I'm an empathetic person, I noticed that sometimes I understand so much that I might take on somebody else's perspective, even though it's not mine. So one gem that I carry throughout life is that you could understand somebody, but you don't necessarily have to agree with them on it, if that makes sense. So I just want to connect through love and empathy, give people grace, shift the mindset of the culture so it could be more positive, create balance between man and woman, motivate and inspire, and again, essentially create a movement that's conducive to society and humanity as a whole. So join me on helping elevating the collective consciousness. Tap in with me on IG, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify. I also have a website called themdshift.com where I'll be selling merch and where you can access all my episodes. I actually want to show you guys my diagram, what I came up with. Thanks. So this is basically the foundation of the multi-dimensional shift. I came up with a diamond. It has each of its facets. The purpose is here. Remember I was talking about relationships and then all the subtopics under there. And yeah, so come on, tap it with me, guys. Subscribe, follow. Again, thank you for joining me. Love and empathy.